Hey everybody, hope you're all doing well. Well, I thought I'd tell you a little story, and the story's true. I was talking to somebody the other day, and we were talking about stock motors, and this is a stock motor right here, fellas. Nothing done, no head work, no nothing. A lot of gear in the car, guys? Nope. 327 gear with 28s on it. So this is one of the shootouts I was in, and I went runner-up, and I would have won except for the fact that one of the officials backed me out of the staging beams. I didn't have a clue why, and then he pulled me back in, and I got overexcited and turned the red light on because the guy I was racing was the fastest car in my class. But I found out after the race, he came over and shook my hand. He seemed like the nicest guy in my class. He actually gave me a compliment in a roundabout way. He said, "I want to thank you." And I was like, "For what?" I thought he meant because I was being a decent person, because, when you lose sometimes you're kind of sour, and I really wasn't. I was just being the way you should act, being a gentleman, I hope. He said, "You just made me run my car faster than it's ever been." He said my car's never been that fast. He went 10-0, and I thought that was pretty decent of him. He had nitrous on it, and that's to be expected. He had a pretty good little car there, and he deserved to win. If I messed up, whether I didn't mess up, he deserved it. But what this segment's about, really, fellas, not about me. It's about you. If you have an old engine sitting there and you pulled it out and it was fine when you pulled it from a car, and you're waiting for a stroker kit or heads, and your finances just don't let you go that route, then you're going to be missing out on stuff like this here if you're just waiting and waiting and waiting. And that's why I'm doing this video, guys, because I have a friend. You'll be seeing the car. We had it down last season. He waited for his engines. He has 2 or 3 engines that he's doing, all making big power. And he's been waiting for this engine for a few years, waiting for the other engine, another couple years. This guy has that guy has this. So we told him to put his car together with a stock engine. My son did. And then I started saying things to him like, "Why don't you just put a stock motor in that car?" He said, "Because I wanted to go 10s. I'd like to at least go 10s. We said, "Are you going to run a power adder?" "Oh, yeah, I'm running a power adder. I'm not afraid to use nitrous." We said, "You have a 10-second car then." He says, "I don't know how you guys figure that." He goes, "You guys can do that." He goes, "But I can't." And my son said, "No, you can. You buy what I tell you to buy. You put the right intake on it, and I'll help you tune it." Well, he did. Finally listened, put the car together, and I did a segment on that. And I'm going to tell you something, guys. If you only could see the smile on his face when he ran that car the first night out, and it went 11-0 at 128 mile an hour, if I remember right. I'll find out for sure, but it's around there. It was pretty good. And he had some problems. First night out, to go that fast with a stock engine, and I think he had like a 150 shot. Not exactly sure. Excuse me, guys. Still shaking this stuff. But my point is this, fellas. If you're going to wait around and you're willing to wait for an engine that you're doing and you have the finances to do it and you know things are coming your way, that's good. But if you're just waiting and waiting, hoping to get top dog stuff, and you've already been doing that for a couple years, you're going to get disgusted and you're going to wind up not even liking the car if it's not doing anything but sitting there. Excuse me, guys. Sorry about that. I have a friend right now. It's not his fault. He's had a machine shop, has his parts. And he told me the other day, and it actually hurt my feelings. He said, I was looking at the car, trying to line things up for it. He said, and I just wanted to push it out of the garage and watch it roll across the street. Well, if you guys seen this car, how beautiful it is, you'd never believe he could say something like that. And he's a good guy. He's a laid-back guy. And that's why it kind of got me upset to hear him get that disgusted because of a situation that's not his fault. So now he tells me he has another engine laying there that broke the timing chain, and he thought about putting it in the car. And I said, well, look at it this way. And here's something for you fellas to think about. I said, you'll know what other problems you'll have with that vehicle. You'll find out how it hooks. I mean, it's not going to make the same power, but he'll be able to work on the suspension. He'll be able to find out his header clearance. He'll be able to find out all kinds of things by putting that engine in that he has laying in the garage. Because he's never had this engine in the car before. It's a car that he bought, and he's putting it together. So, guys, like I always tell you, I try to do these videos to maybe give somebody an idea or help someone that may be on the fence, or especially help someone that's getting disgusted thinking they can't never get the money to go that fast. You can all do it, guys. Always. It can happen. All you have to do is weigh your options out. And even if you have to go with a stock engine, and you say, well, how am I going to find a good engine? If you go to the junkyard, or if somebody has a car sitting in the yard that they don't want, find out why they quit running it. If you see something that's smashed up in the rear and the engine's good in it, and they have the engine that you need in that vehicle, try to make them a deal. I've gotten engines from people where I've seen the cars sitting in their yard time back and gotten really good deals. As a matter of fact, guys like, yeah, it's been here long enough, or a situation like that. And one engine I got that was really a really good engine was 429, and that car had been smacked in the rear, and if I remember right, it had 40,000 miles on the odometer, and the seat looked like it was never sat in. So you can tell things like that, fellas. Just check the oil in it. If you can tell if it turns over easy, check the exhaust pipe to see if it has any oil laying in it. There are several ways to check out to see if a motor is any good or not before you buy it. And there's several things you can do as far as asking around with people. I mean, there's some smart guys out there now. And some of these guys have really good tricks of figuring things out. But one thing that happened here, fellas, with this car, it did kink the quarter panels. I had no frame connectors in it, and it creaked the whole car. I could hear it twisting. It's like, it was terrible to hear that car do that. But over and done now. It needs to be fixed. The quarters are stretched in it. But anyway, fellas, I hope this is somewhat helpful. Like I said, it's about having fun. And even if you have an engine that's on its way, the guy tells you it's going to be another few months, and racing seasons starts, it's not a big deal to put a motor in, even if you only get a few months out of it or whatever, before you have to change it. It's still, you're out there, and you're not waiting around. And that's how I look at it, fellas. I put 3 engines in 1 week because I didn't like how they ran back in the day when I was young. I got 1 engine, and the guy said it ran really well, and it did. It ran fine if you wanted to just go to the store, but it had no power. It wasn't no performance engine. I pulled it back out, and then I got another engine out of something else, put that in. I didn't care for how that ran. And then I got the whole car, actually a 67 Mustang. I bought the whole car, and I took the drivetrain out of that, but I drove that car. I got to see how that ran. So I knew what I was in for when I bought that. Anybody knows the old Mustang 67s, they were one of the better engines back in the day. And this is going back years and years, fellas. So keep that in mind when I tell you a little story like that. This isn't today's stuff. This is back in the day when I talk about the 289s and things like that. So a little bit of different time. These 302 rollers are tougher than what the motors were. Some people say the older motors were better, but they weren't. These roller engines are tough. If they didn't break in half, there wouldn't be any reason to go with nothing else as far as I'm concerned. When you can just bolt something together and do that with it, that's a good engine to me. But anyway, guys, thank you for checking the channel out tonight. And if you guys have any questions, or if there's anything I can help you with, because my segments aren't always to the point, and I don't edit. It's too hard for me to do anything but get on here, say what I say, and then we're stuck with the outcome. If I make a mistake, I just leave it because it's too hard to go back and start it all over again. Because I've done that, and chances are, guys, I mess up more the second time. That's just how I am. That's what happens when you get up in age, I guess, fellas. But hope this is helpful to somebody. But once again, fellas, thank you for stopping by. And stay warm and take care.